Hey Parker, it's a Wednesday, so I'm sure that by now, if you've seen any news ever, you are aware of the passing of the great David Bowie. Now, David Bowie is very obviously a just huge pop culture and musical influence to a lot of people, and of course, a lot of people are very kind of devastated by his very, very sudden passing. I mean, the guy literally put out an album on Friday, and then we heard of his passing on Monday. And of course, as when any great musician or actor, politician, or anyone who's impacted a lot of people are sincerely mourning and expressing their condolences and their sadness because of it, which is a perfectly natural human emotion. But of course, there are some people who think that no one, people who haven't met and had an actual physical, personal connection with David Bowie should really care. It happens all the time. There are always people who are like, we really shouldn't be caring about the passing of a musician because he didn't really do all that much. But it depends on what your definition of he didn't really do all that much, because for some people, music is a great driving force in their life, and David Bowie, like it or not, impacted a great amount of people, whether it be through his music or through his acting or his admittedly weird and amazing fashion. He impacted people, and we're in 2015, actually 2016, and we should know by now that with the internet and with just how connected everyone is in the world, just because you've never met someone doesn't necessarily mean you haven't been impacted by them. Think back to when Kurt Cobain passed and people were freaking out. And then there are also people who say, yes, David Bowie has died, but there are also people who died, in the various wars going on in the Middle East. And to that I say, we do not have limited sadness in the world. Don't dispel people's sadness in relation to David Bowie, because he was a great artist and he did affect a lot of people. If you really want to bring attention to the sadness of others and the plight of others and how much we need to help others, don't put it as an afterthought of, you shouldn't be sad about David Bowie, you should be sad about these people. Bring up those people. Say, hey, go to Facebook, go to Twitter, go somewhere. We have social media now. We can be sad about more than one thing. I know that might come as a shock to some people, but we are allowed to be sad about more than one thing and care about more than one thing and do more than one thing. So there's just the usual bickering of people who are trying to say that apparently you can only be sad about one thing, which obviously is not true. I'm a pro at being sad about multiple things. So Parker, I'm gonna give you my own random fact because I love random facts. So in Tudor England, women used to, for a brief time, people's teeth went like black because they ate too much sugar. And so this started a trend of people, particularly women, purposefully blackening their teeth, especially with the women who were not rich enough to eat these sugary goods. And the idea of this was to show that they were rich enough to eat these sugary goods. And I just find that very interesting because it's sort of how we're, trends often are weird. Like nowadays, spray tan is a trend. It's a trend to look tan, like you spend a lot of time in the sun, whereas in other cultures, it was gross to look like you spend time in the sun. That's what poor people do. And in other cultures, of course, there are the people who, being full-figured and fat and larger in size, showed that you could eat, whereas being skinny was gross. And now, in today's culture, being skinny is like the best thing you can be, and being fat, while we are reaching some sort of body acceptance, is still kind of looked down upon. Actually, Googling this, it apparently seems that in Japan and in China and Pacific Islands and Vietnam, there were also trends where women blackened their teeth for various reasons. And that's just incredible. And so that's just an interesting thing. Don't see many black teeth nowadays because we have better oral hygiene. I very much look forward to your video on Friday. You actually brought up facts that I don't know, and I usually like to think I know all the weird facts that no one else knows, and you stumped me on some of them, so good on that. So Parker, I'll see you Friday. DFTBA, stay super. Bye.